Yelling and screaming NFL week 3 already. We are flying through the NFL season. Seems like we wait and we wait and we wait, Sean, and then it's over in the blink of an eye.
For some reason, football season is pretty long, and yet at the same time, it's the shortest season. You spend so much time hanging out with people, then after that, it's like, well, what do I do in my life now that I got all this free time? So,
Shout out to Phantom Odds for sponsoring Yelling and Screaming this season. Sean, I went winless with my Phantom Odds picks last week. Really, really took the L just about everywhere I could. I lost my matchups. I lost all the matchups I bet on. But it's been a lot of fun, like being able to put down some wagers on our QNW fantasy leagues.
honestly, it's a really cool concept. I love it. I am not very good when it comes to calling out these bets. I can sometimes I pick a good game, but every time I try to get specific on some of these bets, I always end up on the wrong side of it. So I don't try to bet too much. I'm a small better, but I enjoy it, and it's a really cool concept. I think everybody should check it out.
You're 4-0 in our trash bin picks, though. You might suck at picking fantasy winners, but undefeated so far for our bets we do on socials.
Honestly, I have no idea how I'm pulling this out, but I just have faith in the teams, and I'm getting it done. It's been nice this early season to see some good slated games, and so I've just been fortunate, and hopefully I can keep this going, keep this rolling this week.
Well, again, if you watched last year and are kind of falling back into this season, is Sunday morning. Games on the way here. So we have one week 3 game already in the books. But before we get to our Thursday overreaction, Sean, were there any major notes from week 2's games you kind of wanted to touch on? Anything that stood out to you from a performance standpoint or a watch out?
Week 2 was a weird week, I would say. The funniest thing was that it was just like a bunch of revenge games that I noticed. Is a couple of teams that just put up some crazy numbers. A lot of guys who didn't play as well in week 1 that just came out and decided they were going to shoot for the stars. So it was some high scoring games this week. This past week, and it was some good football to watch. Honestly, if you were a fantasy captain, you were having a good time looking at all those scores up there on some of your players. I unfortunately had to play against a couple of guys who dropped 20 in the lineup, and so that'll pretty much kill you when you got guys who are expected to put up 10 points, and suddenly they have 2 touchdowns or 3 touchdowns, something crazy like that. So it wasn't great to watch my team lose like that, but it was fun to watch all the games. You watch a game like the Giants and the Cowboys, and you're like, okay, well, this game could be really high scoring or it could be a stalemate. And it ended up being a very high scoring game. Made Russ look like he was back in prime.
Vintage Russ, man. That was Badger Russ.
He was incredible in that game. Obviously, the turnover at the end is what seals it to you. But you look at that game, and it was even they bring in Jackson Dart to come in with a couple of quick, design QB run type of plays, and then Russ comes in on 3rd down and he's like, "Don't worry, I got this. let the kid play a little bit. Let the kid play a little bit. I'll come back when he needs it."
Swinging, man. I that is like that danger Russ. Like that's that Seahawks unbeatable. Like they never even thought they could lose games. Like that kind of swagger. I saw I did a double take. It said he had 400 yards. It was like the end of the 3rd quarter. I'm like, there's no way. That's got to be a typo. I checked it. I'm like, oh man.
But the Cowboys secondary looked like Swiss cheese. I mean, you had Wan'Dale Robinson and Malik Neighbors just torching them back there. Like nobody was playing safety. It was crazy. So honestly, the Cowboys defense definitely needs to work on some of the issues that it has. Obviously, losing Micah Parsons destroyed your pass rush. You've got some secondary issues with injury, but you got to figure it out. You're not a playoff caliber team, not even close. You lucked out on this one, beating up on a Giants team whose defense is supposed to be pretty good, but also didn't perform very well. And yeah, this is not a team that if I'm a Cowboys fan, I'm hopeful. If you're a Giants fan, I mean, I wasn't rooting for anything. I wouldn't expect you to expect too much anyway with no running back game. But this looks good for you. This is a bounce back. That was a bounce back game for Russ. All those people who were ready to try to figure out if Jackson Dart was going to get the start or if Jameson was going to come in at some point. It's like, nah, unless Russ goes down, that's his team.
a lot of like NFL heads, like more scouting facing kind of people that I talk to, are like really big on Tyrone Tracy for some reason. He sucks. He's awful. I don't understand like what anyone saw in him. I mean, phenomenal athlete, but like, dude, no, he's not it.
His vision is just not there for me. I just don't see him being as shifty of a back. He's not a guy who's going to break a ton of tackles, especially behind the line. And so, like, he's just not giving me NFL starting quarterback or starting running back. Sorry, like he's not giving me what I need from that. I need something outstanding for you to be an NFL starting running back. You got to be overly physical. You got to be, got to be quick. Got to make good decisions. You got to do something really well, and a bunch of other stuff. Okay, and he's just not giving me anything that he does well enough.
Well, let's get into Thursday, and then we can refer back to some of these week 2 performances as we get into the game board. Dolphins Bills. I mean, this was actually a pretty good game. I don't think that's what a lot of people expected. Bills win 31-21. Final score wasn't really indicative of how this game was played. This was really tight until really, really late. The Dolphins are done, right? They're cooked.
The Dolphins are cooked. But I will say this. As a Dolphins fan, you just chalk this season up. What it really comes down to is whether or not you can see some consistency out of the play for Tua. I still see signs of concussion to me. And I feel bad. Like some of these hits that he's still taking is like, or some of those they're way out of character for a guy who was pretty accurate. To some of those deep balls specifically, he's just not hitting the receivers.
What he does is big moment interceptions. This guy can't miss when it comes down to like win the game or lose the game. He will throw it dead ass to a defensive back he didn't even see consistently.
You're not wrong. And he had plenty of opportunities here, man. The Bills defense is not good. If you're the Bills, you're concerned about that defense because they're just not good. They lucked out again in a game where the other team's offense underperformed. But realistically, the Bills defense should be concerned. They play against some of these higher caliber teams, and Josh Allen has to be errorless. He can't do anything wrong in order for them to win those games. We saw that in the Ravens game, and this game was way closer than it needed to be. They really need to get it together.
See, I kind of view it a little bit differently, right? We've had Josh Allen carrying the team. We've had Josh Allen MVP. We've had Josh Allen being flawless and doing everything you need to do. It's not good enough to win a Super Bowl. But what I saw in this Dolphins game, and to a lesser extent in the Ravens game, is James Cook. And James Cook might be the most dynamic running back in the league. And I know that's hyperbole with some of the running backs we have, but his combination, he quick cuts like Westbrook. He has phenomenal field vision, and he's got good size. The guy also runs out and will catch a pass or two. I think what hasn't worked for the Bills is leaning on maybe the best quarterback in the league because he just can't get it done against these other elite teams, partially because they have to score 50 points to cover up this defense. Mm-hmm. But if they change that game around a little bit and just grind out games with James Cook, there might be something there. I'm really, really impressed with Cook so far this season.
He honestly has been he's been lights out. He's been very, very good in that backfield. And you are right. It is something to see that QB running back combo be able to control the clock. It is something that obviously that they hadn't had in recent years. Is somebody that really feel like they could lean on when they needed to move the ball down the field, even for just a short yardage game. And Cook has been that guy this year. He's been absolutely incredible when it comes to moving the chains when they need him to, and getting the ball downfield and not losing yards at all on a lot of these plays. So I do agree with that. But you look at a lot of quarterback running back combos in the NFL, and that's you start at the top. You look at, okay, what's that combo look like? You look at Hurts and Saquon, and you say, well, Saquon's a phenomenal running back. Hurts, people still don't want to put as a top 10 quarterback. I strongly disagree. You look at, Lamar, and you look at Henry, and you say, okay, these two obviously top of their game. Both of them top 5 in the NFL, if not number 1 at their respective positions. And I feel like Cook and Allen are that same caliber, same conversation. You obviously got Goff and that dynamic running back game that they have there. And so that is really the pinnacle right now of the NFL offenses is your running back quarterback combination and being able to control the clock and be able to move the ball forward without taking negative plays. I think they're actually absolutely at that point in their offense, but I still don't. The defense just doesn't do it for me. It just doesn't do it for me.
Does not look good. Very, very concerned about the Bills defense. We've got a big game of the week this week. We try to go a little off book for you guys and give you something you're not getting on every friggin' channel and all the talking heads. But Lions Ravens has to be the game of the week this week. If you have a show that doesn't choose this as game of the week, ditch them. Come and hang out with us. This is a big week 3 game. Both these teams, week 1 losses and then came back and just devastated opponents. The Lions put 52 on the Bears, and they are the Bears, but talk to me a little bit about Goff.
Honestly, he has been one of the most accurate quarterbacks in the NFL, if not the most accurate quarterback in the NFL for the last few seasons. Some people still don't understand that trade for him and Stafford straight up. I can see exactly why. The guy just knows how to put the ball where it needs to be. Their offense is incredibly efficient. And realistically, this week for me didn't tell me any more about the Lions offense or the Lions team than week 1 did. In my opinion, it just these first early games you get a feel more for it's more about who loses the game, in my opinion. And really it didn't feel like it was their game. Like this game just felt like it was that they were angry. They were angry. They needed to show that they're the team to beat in the NFC. And this game was a statement game for them after that week 1 loss or week 2.
Other side of the aisle, Ravens scored 41 on a pretty bad Browns team. Obviously, Derrick Henry doesn't have the huge game that you would have expected in a 41-point explosion, but Lamar getting the job done elsewhere. Give me a little bit of background on that one.
He didn't have to. Sometimes you just don't have to. Lamar throws for 220 and 4 touchdowns. You don't have to do anything. Sometimes it's that simple. You look at what happened in Philly with Saquon, and people are, he's not running. He doesn't have to. He doesn't have to run for 125 yards, 130 yards in a game to get them to win. Look at what happened in week 1. He ran for 175 yards, 3 touchdowns. They still lose. So, at the end of the day, it's about winning the game. He's still a premier NFL running back. No one can take that away from him. Sometimes you don't have to put up 120 yards in a game. But I expect that their offense is going to come out really, really strong in this game. I think that the Lions defense is just going to have to make sure that they can force Lamar to make mistakes. Sometimes Lamar can be an inaccurate quarterback. We've seen that. We've seen him with more incompletions, but we've also seen him throw incredible touchdowns. And so they really have to make him uncomfortable. They have to keep him contained. Don't let him escape. And they're going to have to put a lot of pressure on him in order for him to make mistakes and then capitalize on those mistakes this week. I'd say that the Ravens defense is definitely not as strong, but I think that the Lions defense is going to has the best chance of winning this game for them if they can put pressure on Lamar.
I had this concept when I was looking at this game that Derrick Henry is world beater, unstoppable, best running back ever, except when he's not. I went back and I looked at game logs through his career, and that kind of holds true. And if you go back and you look at the scripting and the game flow in those, teams sold out to stop him. And the Titans lost some of those types of games because they were the Titans and they had other issues. The Ravens are not Derrick Henry's Titans teams. So if he has a game where he has 8 carries for 7 yards, which happened 9 times as a Titan, they lose those games. They lose those games badly. And I think what is nice with Lamar is he not only is a better quarterback than those Titans teams had, but he can also run the ball and move the chains on his own, which should open up a little more space for Derrick Henry. Now, they feel like they get away from him a little bit at times as the game flow changes. But this game for me is all about the quarterbacks. It's Jared Goff and it's Lamar Jackson, and that's like the battle I want to see. I really want to get into it and like show me who is the best quarterback in the NFL right now. Like that's what I want out of this game, out of this one specifically. And I think we're going to get it. I think these defenses are going to give up a lot of yards.
They are. And honestly, these quarterbacks just know what to do with the ball. They know where to put it in order to keep their receivers away from contact. They know where to put the ball in order to get their receivers into good space and to be able to do what they need to do with the ball. I mean, people still sleep on Zay Flowers. I don't know how, because he's definitely in that same category with the Amon-Ra St. Browns, with the A.J. Browns, with the Justin Jeffersons. I think he's very, very much a more talented wide receiver than people give him credit for. And then we forget about D-Hop. Like you just forget about him, and suddenly he has these incredible catches, and you're like, oh yeah, that's right. We remember why you were one of the top guys in the league for a while. And then Bateman's not a bad guy at all. Like obviously he's a number 3 receiver now, but don't sleep on him. And so their offense is just so dynamic. There's so many talented players, and Lamar can get them the ball. Really, it's going to come down again to whether or not the Lions defense can contain Lamar Jackson. Because if you let him run wild, it's a wrap. It's over. He'll have 80 rushing yards and 350 passing yards.
So if we're wrong and all the pundits are wrong, and I tell you this game is 24-20, who wins a more defensive facing game?
Lions. I think the Lions win a more. I think the Lions win a more defensive-facing game. I think that the Ravens are more susceptible to shooting themselves in the foot. Obviously, we just saw it happen. I think that if it's a 24-20 game, Lions don't score early, or they don't score often early. It comes down to something in the last 2 minutes, a score, a stop, something like that. That's really big. But if it's a tight game, I feel like the Lions come out on top. If it's a low-scoring game, if it's a high-scoring game, it's anybody's guess. It really comes down to who makes who stops the other team from making a mistake at the end. It really comes down to that. That's what happens with the Ravens. They play a strong game for 3.5 quarters, and then there's one mistake that costs them the game.
The end of that Bills game was insane. That shouldn't happen more than once in a season.
Well, okay,
so hopping into the week 3 slate, we have a pretty cool slate of games this week, but there's also some real stinkers in here. There's a lot of backup quarterbacks playing. There's a lot of bad teams playing bad teams, and then there's a lot of like really good teams playing like middling teams. So I don't want to waste a whole bunch of time where we don't have to, but let's start at the top of the board. Packers and Browns. I don't even know if this one's going to get on my TV today. The Packers are better than the Browns. I don't think it's a crazy thing to say. And I don't want to watch Joe Flacco throw the ball over, get benched again.
The line for this game is -8.5 Packers, which is massive. Obviously they're giving a lot of credit to that defense. Reed is out. And so obviously if you got him in your fantasy, you got to make sure you switch those receivers around. But I'll tell you right now, the Packers offense is significantly better than the Browns defense, and the Packers defense is significantly better than the Browns offense. The only way that this game isn't a blowout, if you will, 2-score game, is if the Packers seriously make a lot of mistakes on offense. They should be able to control the clock. Jacobs is he's an absolutely incredible running back, top 10 running back in the NFL. You'll see that again this season. And they really should be able to control that defense, to control the Browns on defense as well. They just have a much better pass rush. So this game should be a 2-score game. We'll see if the Packers can perform in an away game.
It's not like the dog pound's a hard place to play. I think they're gonna be fine. This is a really bad Browns team, and that's like there's been winless Browns teams before in recent history. they're bad. They're really bad. I really think that if Sanders hadn't gotten hurt, he might have legitimately had a chance to play games this season for the Browns. And I guess still might, because Dylan Gabriel looked like shit too. So
I'm still rooting for him.
I don't know.
I'm still rooting for him. Let everybody get a turn.
Colts visit Tennessee. 5.5 Indianapolis on this one. What do you got for Colts Titans?
This resurgence of Daniel Jones, he's playing like a man who really needs a check. And if you want to say that he's playing to the money that he was paid, I would 100% shake your hand on that, because that's what it looks like. I think you hit the nail on the head. Anthony Richardson's probably not going to play anymore unless he gets hurt this season. Like, it's just I don't know. The Colts kind of look a lot more dangerous with a well playing Tennessee, well playing Daniel Jones against Tennessee this week. Cam Ward just had some incredibly crazy plays last week, which I love to see. I want to see him continue to just do stuff that people aren't expecting to happen. But I can see the Colts definitely pulling this one out.
I keep getting like shades of Culpepper from Cam Ward, like just the way he hangs in the pocket and then just kind of stumbles out of there and scrambles for like 10 yards. And you're like, how did he even escape that pocket? Like, I was watching and I need to watch tape like, but like I'm watching, like, God, he looks like Culpepper. Maybe it's just because Culpepper wore that flak jacket for the back half of his career and looked dumb thick like Cam Ward is.
Hey, Vince Young, man. Don't sleep on it. That's a big body right there. Yeah. You wasn't a small dude. So yeah, I see little flashes of some of those other guys, some of those mobile guys. But it's funny because he just does things that work. Escaping the pocket, throwing cross body, cross the field for a touchdown, forward shovel passes, diving out. It's like you're watching him and you go, this is what elite quarterbacks do, that people go, oh my God, I can't believe he did that. And it works. When it doesn't work, then you're an idiot. But when it works, it's your elite. So I hope to continue to see him progress. And he's fun to watch.
I mean, no one more excited than Calvin Ridley, who I'm sure is betting on his yardage prop total every single week. The Bengals Vikings. Quick shout out. Club 602 is at Four Peaks for brunch today. Our big brunch. It is a Vikings bar. And I need to maintain composure and not make fun of these Vikings, because this game, like, I kind of like the Bengals to win this game. Like backup quarterbacks and like bad teams, like I'm curious to see how this one plays out.
All right, hear me out. Browning ends up with more wins this season than Burrow did last season. With the turf toe. With the turf toe. What do you do to Joe Burrow?
What did the Bengals finish last year?
They were either 8-9 or 7-10 or something like that. They were
9-8 last.
Oh, 9-8. 9-8.
I love the bet. I agree with it in concept. I don't think there's any way in hell that they win 10 games.
What if they win the same amount of games then?
9 maybe, right? That's because Burrow's done for the year, right? So you have 15 games to win 9.
Yeah, to win 8 because he ties. They already won one.
I'm not giving him the one that they got against.
What do you mean? I'm giving it to him. 3 interceptions. He still gets it done.
All right, fine. 8 wins and 50. I'm with you. I'm agreeing with you. I think. God, like outside of the Ravens, that division is just not what it used to be.
And it's possible. It is possible.
Yikes.
Divisional games.
I'm putting that one up on the board here. I want to remember this one.
Divisional games, man. You eke out those divisional games. Then what happens? You only gotta win like 3 or 4 more.
I mean, there's a scenario, right, where he puts it all together and the Bengals keep the Ravens out of the playoffs by like winning down the stretch.
Oh my
God. That's how the Bills get their Super Bowl. The Bengals knock out all the real contenders.
That would be hilarious given how historically bad their defense was last year. They just needed a worse quarterback. That was the problem. If you can't have a 5,000-yard passer, it's not acceptable. You need a guy who's throwing for 3,500 yards.
Yeah, you need the rest of the team to step up and support, right?
Exactly. Team effort.
Steelers Patriots in a matchup that would have looked great a decade ago. Obviously, still two elite level quarterbacks, and I can't even. I'm curious to see this one because it does have pretty significant playoff implications. I know it's week 3. The Pats are going to be right there. The Steelers are going to be right there. I mean, these are wild card teams in my book. So seeing how they play against each other and how these schemes match up, this will be the best defense Aaron Rodgers has faced so far this season. I'm curious to see how this one plays out. I don't really have a rooting interest. Pittsburgh -1.5 is the line right now. I think that's fair. They're probably the better team, but
it's the experience.
I'm curious to see this one.
They're going to give it to the experience on this one. They got a more experienced defensive team, and they got supposedly they got a very experienced supposed leader on offense. So that's really what they're giving that point. This is a wash. You need Aaron Rodgers to either be phenomenal or you need the Steelers defense to play exceptionally well. You can't get both on the same day, but you can get neither. So it really comes down to whether or not that defense can put it together this week against a not very strong offensive team in the Patriots, or if their offense can actually start clicking this week and Rodgers goes back to looking like he's worth the money that he's getting paid over there by the Steelers.
You know, Drake May doesn't make a lot of mistakes. Obviously, not surrounded by a great cast. But I feel like Drake May, with still a limited sample size here, I feel like Drake May is not going to lose you a game. He just also might not win you any.
Win you the game. Mm-hmm.
Rams and Eagles. This could be a fun one. Eagles laying 3.5. Obviously the better team, but give me a way the Rams can win this game.
Oh, simple. They put the ball in the hands of their quarterback. I think that they can. That he's still very, very well put together quarterback in the NFL. I don't see him, where he used to be a couple of years ago. But Stafford can win you a game with his arm. What they need to do is keep the Eagles' defense on their heels. Don't let them get into blitz packages. Don't let them put too much pressure on you, and just make sure that you control the game. The Eagles are going to be the Eagles. Their style of play is very much more like 1970s, 80s football, where they're just going to pound you. No diddy. And it really comes down to whether or not you can control the clock, control the line. And the Rams are one of those teams that has some pretty solid defensive linemen. And so they might be able to keep Philadelphia on their heels, keep them uncomfortable enough to be able to win this game. But it's a home game in Philly. It's going to be loud. It's going to be angry.
Can Adoree Jackson cover Puka Nacua for more than a quarter? He's looked so out of shape. He's looked so gassed. Like Puka's gonna run all over the place. You almost have to put Blankenship up over the top, and just that opens up so many other spots on the field. Then I don't know if they can cover him.
I think that DeJean might end up covering them in a nickel. Or they're just going to put a lot on those on the blitzes and keep Stafford from being able to see the field. Like if you do what you can with your front four, and you spy with one of your linebackers across the middle, and that's really going to be your best bet.
I keep thinking about the Cowboys game and kind of that blueprint, but that was not their full defensive line.
No.
So everything that happened in that game, you have to take with a grain of salt. I mean, the combo routes the Cowboys were running dominated the Eagles secondary, but you didn't have any of that push up front. So no. I think there's takeaways, there's lessons there. And if you can utilize some of those combo routes and wear out these corners, maybe there's something there. But, I mean, the Rams offensive line is probably worse than the Cowboys offensive line. And
I would say
you have your full complement of defensive players in this one, in theory, unless there's some pregame spitting.
I think we've got a lid on the spitting now. I think they figured that one out. Nobody else is getting spat on unless they deserve it.
Jets and Bucks. I'm excited for this one because it is Bucko Bruce Day. We're getting the best uniforms in football. Give me the creamsicle jerseys. I think it is impossible to lose a game at home against the Jets with a backup quarterback when you're wearing the creamsicle jerseys. And oh yeah, by the way, Baker Mayfield is the quarterback of this team. I don't think there's a way that the Bucs can lose this division because how can you ever count yourself out? You got Baker.
That man is he's somebody you definitely never want to count out. I have fun watching him. I loved him since Oklahoma, and you just cannot count him out. You absolutely are correct. Tyrod Taylor. I mean, I can't. I got no faith in him leading this team. The Jets just don't have the cohesion, in my opinion. I mean, unless their defense does something really insane today, I don't see them coming out of this game with a win.
Yeah, it's Tampa Bay laying 6.5. The line didn't
At home
really move. The assumption was that Fields was going to miss the game, but I like the Bucs with Fields in this game. So I think stepping down to Tyrod Taylor, it's the Bucs for me.
Definitely.
All right. I think that we can skip this next one, right? Nobody wants to talk about this one.
Oh goodness.
Raiders and the Washington football team. Talk to me about your Raiders.
They did not look good. They didn't look good. I don't know if Gino heard me ranting and raving about his turnover to touchdown ratio, but he clearly did a 180 on that. I think he's just used to having stronger receivers, like physically stronger receivers, to where they battle for the ball more in the air.
Yeah, go up and get
because he was putting the ball in these real tight windows that if your receiver is much smaller, much softer, they're not going to put their body in that spot. Their defenders are much more going for that ball. Pete Carroll, obviously, not a coach that likes to see his quarterback throw interceptions, and they're not a team not a team built on come from behinds. But the fact that it was a 20-9 game, and the fact that he threw 3 interceptions, at least 2 of them in the end zone, it gives me some hope. Gives me a little bit more hope than most people would probably have. I think that there's things that need to be buttoned up, and I think there's a lot more. He's got to make some smarter decisions with the ball in really, really costly positions. You know, we had a chance to be able to get some points in at least one of those drives, 1 or 2 of those drives. We can come up with a couple of points here and there and chip away, but you can't do that if you turn the ball over. So Washington, this is going to be a tight game because Washington, obviously, they're out now. They got Mariota in there for Jaden Daniels, and their style of play is probably a little more similar than some of the other backups coming in for the quarterbacks. But I'm going to go ahead and say that this one is Raiders with the W.
Yeah, I stayed away from this one with money, but in all my pick'em leagues, I'm on Washington, and I have it on my board. I have it on my whiteboard right here to check before kickoff because I'm not sold. I like what I've seen from the Raiders. I think if they could get the running game going early and kind of control the pace, we've seen Gino's worst game of the season.
Yes, so that's what I want to hear.
Yeah, I think Washington is better at full strength, but they're not at full strength. Mm-hmm. So I could really easily see the Raiders winning this one.
I agree. Washington is a better team at full strength, but they don't have their quarterback. They don't have any run game really, and their wide receivers don't look nearly.
You don't speak bad about Bill on this podcast.
Their wide receivers don't look nearly as threatening when you're thinking about Marcus Mariota throwing it to him. So I'm expecting Crosby to feast in this backfield if he gets a chance to. You're going to see him switch up on either side and try to figure out how to give Mariota fits. And I'm excited for this.
Yeah, figure it out. Mariota usually just rolls right into the pressure.
Fair enough.
Speaking of rolling into the pressure, Falcons at Panthers. The Falcons, after putting up one of the most pathetic games and winning that I've probably ever seen. 5.5-point road favorites over the Carolina Panthers. Is there any point to this season for the Panthers, or are we just rolling to 2026?
It's always a point. The Panthers at worst get to play spoiler. Their division's not strong overall. Obviously, we're looking at Tampa Bay being the best team in that division, and everybody else just kind of there. They could pick up some divisional wins. That would be cool. I think that's something that you can definitely feel like you're building on. It is not a season for them to look at any type of playoffs, but they just got to build. They're missing pieces. And I think that obviously any wins that you can pick up is monumental for your confidence. But I could see the Panthers being the second team to go to another country after the Jaguars.
Put them in Brazil.
Honestly, I would go.
Texans, Jaguars. This is my money line pick this week. Give me the Texans outright, and that's about all I have on this game.
Same. I mean, they're just a better team. Their defense looked pretty decent last week. They were at rushing the quarterback at least, and the Jaguars just they can't get it together.
I don't. Can't get it together. We overuse like the generational talent thing and the franchise quarterback. Like just because you're the quarterback for a franchise doesn't mean that you're a franchise quarterback. And I think the poster boy for that is Trevor Lawrence, who,
agree.
I mean, yeah, played great in college. Sure, like we know that doesn't matter.
Overpaid and underachieved,
and like he's not been good. No. The stats have been there-ish, but they've never accompanied wins. He doesn't seem to have the field presence to drive a team down late in the game and like win a game. Serviceable, right? But is that what you want if you're the Jaguars, or is a Super Bowl the goal? Because if all you want to do is sit around 500 and sell tickets, Trevor Lawrence is perfect. He's the perfect quarterback because his win-loss record is going to necessitate not overpaying him when his contract's up. So
they already overpaid him.
Well,
they paid him crazy money.
But they were still doing that on upside. That was still based on upside. But that was 2 seasons ago now, right? I mean, Trevor Lawrence can be your quarterback for the next 10 years, and he would end his career like at 500.
Yeah,
I don't see it. It's not.
He's not going to win you any game.
Lawrence is the most overrated quarterback in the NFL.
Facts.
That might be fair. I mean, the way they talk about him in the national media is like he's still the guy from college. Like he's just waiting for the Jaguars to put it together, and he's going to have 5,000 yards and 50 passing touchdowns. I just don't see it.
They never stopped. Justin Herbert performed. Trevor Lawrence did not. I watched Tua even looked better than Trevor Lawrence ever did. Like Daniel Jones looks better right now than Trevor Lawrence ever did.
Whoa.
Right now,
don't make me defend Trevor Lawrence.
Game one. These last 2 games for Daniel Jones have been about as good as Trevor Lawrence ever had in any game.
Oh man.
Am I wrong?
Money line. Let's move on.
Am I wrong? Like, come on, man. What
if you watched this show last year, you know there is no bigger Bo Nix fan than myself. Having said that, Vegas, why in the fuck is this Chargers minus 2.5? The disrespect for this Chargers team is astronomical. They are so much better than this Broncos team is. This is my this is
if you're a betting man, take this game. If you're a betting man, take this
spread this week. I'm laying the 2.5. I like the Broncos. I love Bo Nix. 2.5 at home? This Chargers team is way better than the Broncos are. They might put 35 on the Broncos and hold them under 14.
Honestly, you are spot on. Looking at the way that the Chargers have been very good at keeping the ball and scoring when they needed to, and the Broncos, I mean, their pass game is atrocious right now. And if they can't spread the field, then you're stuck. I just don't see how they pull out this game. And a 2 point money line, you need to absolutely get a bet in on this if you have the opportunity to, because it's one that I would take any day of the week. At home, not even close.
I mean, they got boat raced by the Colts, and I know Daniel Jones, I know, but Bo's been more efficient with his passing, but like Dobbins doesn't scare me if I'm the Chargers. So you don't have to stack the box because your front seven can take care of it no problem.
Well, Sutton's
So
not getting shit. He's on my fantasy
and
team, and I don't know where the ball's going to. So
if you sit out there in nickel for half the game, where's Bo going to put the ball? Because these wide receivers really ain't shit either. Like, is Troy Franklin going to beat you? I don't see enough there. I'd love to watch Bo's game continue to evolve. I want to see Bo Nix be successful. I don't know that the Broncos have put enough around him yet to beat what for me is the class of the division. I have the Chargers winning this division, and I don't think it's particularly close.
Honestly, I agree with you on that. I think that they expected to rely a lot more on their defense and Bo Nix's playmaking ability than the weapons that they put around them. Javonte Williams is a better running back than J.K. Dobbins. I don't know how anybody could see that when he's healthy. I think he's definitely a better running back than Dobbins. And so you're down, in my opinion, on even healthy, you're downgrading at running back. And you expect Bo Nix to be who exactly? He's not a premier.
Tim Tebow.
When
that's the problem.
Tebow,
That's the problem. Is it's like if that's the build, right? Think of who the coach is there right now.
oh goodness, yeah,
there's a tight end in New Orleans who thinks he's an NFL quarterback because of this guy. So leaning into immense athletic talent from Bo Nix, it's a strategy, but I don't think it works based on the Broncos' history, based on Sean Payton's history. You need to give this guy weapons to be able to do something with.
Yeah, he's not Jalen Hurts.
Speaking of the Saints, Saints and Seahawks, I have nothing on this one. It sounds like Seahawks are going to be down Charbonnet, which just means that one guy will get all the carries against the Saints instead of two.
Yeah, Kenneth Walker had a great game this past week. Let's be honest, they got it done, and it seems like that they got confidence in Darnold to get it done. I just don't see the Saints putting it together, especially in an away game. That stadium is so loud; it's incomparable, in anywhere else in the NFL. So, I mean, the line's -7.5. That feels about right, but it all depends on how well Seattle can score, whether or not you take that bet. I'm not a betting man, but I could see it easily being a 2-score game.
I am excited for this one. Cowboys and Bears. I'm calling this the battle of the bad franchises, and all the Bears fans and Danny can stay out of my DMs. These teams suck. These teams are really, really bad. And I think what makes it intriguing to me from a football standpoint is not watching the train wreck, right? It's that these teams have potential to be really, really good if they can string together 2 drives without making horrific mistakes or, get it together from an organizational standpoint. Cowboys are 1.5-point road favorites here. I like the Bears. I like the Bears to win this game. And I think it's because they are somehow further along in their evolutionary journey to becoming an NFL football team. I think that they've been held back by injuries on the defense, and they have not a 10-year vet at quarterback, but a guy in his second year who is still learning quite a bit. I like the Bears to win here. I'd like this to be the most exciting game in the back half. Thin slate, but I like this to be the game you watch this afternoon.
To be fair, the Bears have only played against two pretty decent defenses in the NFL. The Cowboy defense is not nearly as good as the Lions defense is. And in a divisional game against the Vikings, tight game, I think the Bears finally have a get back here. They playing at home. You know, the Cowboys are a very weak secondary, so we can actually see how the game can progress down the field if the Bears can actually put the ball where it needs to be. So I would love to see the Bears get a win here, put the Cowboys in their place. I don't expect that the Cowboys are going to score any less than 25 points. So if the Bears can score 30, they have the best shot.
Yeah, these teams need to get going. You have your built-in fan base, you have opportunity, but it's week 3. Like, now is the time. You have to get moving. The Bears won't catch the Lions. No. The Cowboys won't catch the Eagles. No. There's a lot more room in the playoff conversation if you can turn it on. I mean, the
Bears won't catch the Packers either, though.
Well, yeah,
let's be honest.
That's fair.
They can catch the Vikings, but being 3 out of 4 isn't always going to do it for you. Last year was an anomaly. Let's be honest.
If only the 3 teams came out of the North, though, I'd get behind that argument. I could make that argument happen.
It's going to look more like the Red Wedding.
Cardinals 49ers. Sean, I have one question for you on this.
Speaking of the Red Wedding.
Are the 49ers better without Purdy?
Oh, goodness. No. They're not better without Brock Purdy. They are good when they have all of their pieces working well together. They have lost a lot of pieces, and the team just isn't the same offensively, defensively. But more importantly, their cohesion's gone. They've had enough guys shuffled in there to be a hockey fourth line. Like, it's crazy how many people that they've had in and out of there in their team. How could any team be in sync when you don't know any week? You don't know who your starting running back's going to be. You know which receivers you're going to have. You don't know who's going to be in your backfield. Like, how do you build cohesion? How do you build on legacy? It's just not there. Meanwhile, the Cards are looking pretty solid right now. They hung on last week, which they should have won way more outright, but they hung on last week. And so them going into San Fran, like, I think they have a chance to take this game and really show that they're a team to beat in that division, in that West. So I'm looking at the Cards to take this one.
Yeah, and the division's susceptible. I mean, if the Cardinals can turn it on and Call of Duty doesn't derail the back half of their season, I think that they're a reasonable pick to win the division. I think the Rams are still probably the best team. But we've seen the best team, Rams, sit right around 10 wins and lose key games down the stretch to upstart teams like the Cardinals. So, yeah, I don't think it's crazy. I'm with you on this one. I like the Cardinals to win outright in this game. 49ers 2.5 right now. I don't think the 49ers are what we've come to expect from them, right? They're not the 49ers. They're not this perennial playoff team. Part of it's injuries, part of it's turnover and personnel. Yeah, I like the Cardinals here. I like them to play it tight, but win the game at the end. Maybe somebody gets loose. Maybe Marvin Harrison gets loose late in the 4th and puts it away.
I'm hoping for some Connor touchdowns. Give me 2 Connor touchdowns on a tired 49ers defense because they're on the field so much. That's what I like to see.
Monday Night Football is a fun one. Oh, no, Sunday night. This is Sunday Night Football. I apologize.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And I'm going to put it up on a board so that we have the game board in front of us and we can look at it. That'd be nice. Sunday Night Football is a fun one. Are the Giants the better team in this game?
Hear me out. This game right here is my indicator as to whether or not the Chiefs are a good team or if their season's cooked. You watched the Giants offense be the best that they could be last week without really having a run game, with Russ just doing it pretty much by himself, and watching that secondary the Cowboys secondary get destroyed. If the Chiefs lose out to the Giants. They don't score. Two things have to happen. Either one, the Chiefs have to score 30 points minimum. Because I not seeing them score is you can't win games if you can't put points on the board because your defense not that good anymore. Or two, the Chiefs have to beat the Giants outright. They have to beat them. If they score 30 points, but they lose to the Giants 31-30, I say okay. It was a tight game. They need to fix a couple of things. If the Chiefs start 0-3, losing to a Giants team who just lost in a shootout against the Cowboys, who have a terrible secondary, then the Chiefs and the Cowboys are the same. They have quarterbacks who can get the ball where it needs to be, MVP caliber quarterbacks, if you will. But they cannot do what they need to do on defense to stop their opponents, and that's what the name of the game is. Now, the Cowboys obviously have even better talent in their wide receiver core that's healthy, but Patrick Mahomes, we've seen him do it for years and years with whoever the hell he had in his personnel. So I don't want to hear the excuses. You just got to go out there and play football every week.
If Russ has 300 passing yards, does that mean that the Giants have won this game? If we're looking at a blind box score and Russ has 300 yards and 3 touchdowns, is there any way the Giants don't win that game?
It depends on if he also has 2 interceptions. If he's 300 yards, I mean, it really depends on that. Honestly, the yardage thing isn't as much to me as the scoring. If Russ throws for 300 yards, but it's a 21-30 game, then it doesn't mean anything. It means that the Chiefs let that game go late because it didn't mean as much. But if it's Russ with 3 touchdowns, 300 yards passing, not making any mistakes, and the Giants come out looking like a powerhouse team in the NFC, then we got some problems here.
So here's my headcanon. Here's where I'm thinking, right? The Chiefs are 0-2.
Mm-hmm.
That is unacceptable.
But they had to play
Chiefs Nation, right?
Understandable.
This game, the Giants are garbage. Right? Mm-hmm. The Chiefs shouldn't even have to prepare for this, right? The Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes, maybe the greatest quarterback of all time. They don't have to get ready for this game. They beat the Giants. Is there a chance in primetime, looking past the Giants to their Week 4 matchup against the Baltimore Ravens, that the Chiefs somehow find a way to lose themselves this game?
I don't think the Chiefs are looking past anybody. I think that they had a rude awakening these last 2 weeks and that their defense isn't nearly as good as they need it to be. I think that they're at the point now where they need to find ways to win. And the last 2 weeks are indicators that they are no longer that powerhouse in their own division, let alone the NFL. They are not a top two team in the NFL, top 5 team in the NFL. They are looking at maybe top 10. And we're talking toward the bottom of that 10. If they lose this game, they're done. I don't see how an 0-3 Chiefs comes out and does anything realistically. No one's scared of them. In the past couple of years, the Chiefs have been the scariest team in the NFL because whether or not they could put up 300, 400 yards of offense on you or whether or not their defense just shuts you down, that was an option every single week. They only have to score 20 points if they hold their opponents to 15 points. 15-1 Chiefs team, would they end up with 15-2 last season? Something like that. They were not winning games with their offense. They were winning games holding teams with their defense. They can't do that anymore. And so they have to put up points now. They cannot only go with scoring 20 points in a game. They got to be a 24, 25 point a game team minimum in order to be able to keep up in this NFL, in their own division, let alone. So I don't see it. But their defense has to hold these Giants team. They saw what the Cowboys did bad last week, and their defense, obviously, the Giants' defense didn't really help out in that at all. So the Chiefs have a playbook now of what not to do, which is don't let Russ get hot. Don't keep your safeties over top, and don't let them get these guys behind you because he's going to let it air out. You're just going to let it go. If they can do that, if they can contain Russ. The Giants' run game was invisible last week. The Chiefs can contain Russ and make them try to be dynamic. make them try to get some run game in there. I can see them winning this game if they can control it. They have to, because they have to keep their offense on the field as much as possible.
I mean, they are the better team. They should win this game. End of story.
Hey, it's any given Sunday right now, and I wouldn't bet on the Chiefs any game at this point. I can't. I'm not betting on them.
Final countdown here. We got some weather. That's what I wanted to call out. Cleveland and Nashville, some thunderstorms. Normally, not worried about it. But, man, there seems to have been so many lightning delays in college football and the NFL already this season. So just be aware. They're going to play. Your fantasy lineups are going to be fine. But those games might not finish till 5 p.m. You know, it might be a late finish. So just keep an eye out on the weather a little bit.
And one thing, too, it's getting hotter, guys. You're not seeing nearly as many games earlier in the season in the 90s. It's something that we don't really think about, but because most of the time you're looking at football games, it's 50, 40, 60, 50, 40 degrees outside, no matter where you are, or you're in a dome. 90-degree games in humidity in the Midwest, in the South and some of these places, that actually plays a factor. There's some guys this past week who had to come out of games, and they didn't really tell us what the issues were. It was heat-related in a lot of instances. So those guys get fatigued. They get heat exhaustion. It happens with those pads and those scrums. So just watch out for that too. Something to look at.
Ole Miss yesterday used the NCAA loophole to do their pregame warmups inside their air-conditioned facility while Tulane was out on the field warming up in the blazing heat of Mississippi. And then Ole Miss beat their ass. So weather matters, guys. Weather makes a difference.
Sure does.
Sean, you got any last-minute thoughts here for the Week 3 slate?
Next week, I will be back in your area. I'm excited to get back home to the warm weather. I'm excited to watch some football today. I got to find a random sports bar here. I'm in Pennsylvania up by Lehigh University. So I got to find me a college sports bar and watch some of these games. And next week, I'll make sure that I bring back my notes. But it's been fun. It's been great, guys. I really did enjoy my trip out here to the East Coast. But I'm ready to be back in Phoenix and be back in my setup and be back to be able to give you guys the content that you like, the content that you want, that you need in your time zone.
Yeah. Keep a lookout on the socials. We'll have our official trash can picks out here shortly. Shout out to Phantom Odds. Thanks for sponsoring us this year, guys. Make sure you check that out. Link in the bio there. Make sure you are making your chain link picks, including the game of the week, Lions and the Ravens, but all the games are on the board in one form or fashion or another. And enjoy the Week 3 slate. Make sure you like and subscribe. Mash that like button. No, we appreciate you guys. Thanks for joining us either live or on replay. Get those bets in, get those fantasy lineups set, and we'll see.
I got to set my lineup real quick.
We'll
see you guys next week.
I got tabs open.
I gotta get it set, baby. Gotta get it set.
All right, peace, y'all. Yelling and screaming.
Take care.